This is KGW News at Sunrise.
The Oregon Health Authority lifting the state's outdoor mask mandate. Why they want to wait before lifting the one indoors. Plus,
nope. There was zero discussion about why I wanted this medical exemption. And, she asked me, are you healthy otherwise? And I explained, yeah.
a doctor in Washington has been giving out vaccine exemptions for a hefty price. Our sister station in Seattle took hidden cameras inside the office to find out the truth.
One of our other big headlines this morning, this is the day before Thanksgiving, also known as one of the busiest travel days of the year. So we're heading out live to that spot right there. Look at the early morning crowd at 5 a.m. at PDX.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's not a bad travel day. It's a little foggy in places.
Yeah, in fact, locally, the entire weekend, I'm talking all the way through Sunday night, looks easy peasy for us. So that's good news. Here's a look at the fog, and Brenda mentioned that. We also have frosty conditions out there. McMinnville, the worst of the fog right now. Quarter of a mile visibility is considered dense. And the fog along I-5 actually extends from about Wilsonville, dense in Salem, and also dense down to Eugene. So that's a slow go, perhaps, on I-5 southward at this hour. Fog over the West Hills coming into the city, not bad. And there's a little bit of mist being reported in some of these low cloud fog banks. We're at 40 out at the airport, but again, a lot of you are closer to freezing. And overall, this is just a light wind, quiet day. We will be dry moving forward. Could be some sun breaks. If we get them, 46 at noon would warm us up to about 50 during the day for a high temperature.
Rob, thank you much. Well, Drew, you said it. It's the day before Thanksgiving. That means a lot of people are heading to the airport to get to their friends and family to celebrate.
I know two people who are at the airport this morning. Christelle Coomway is one. She's filling in on the Sunrise Show this morning, and she's with our trusty Sunrise photographer, Eric Patterson. Christelle, what's the crowd like there?
Well, you know what? It is still dark and early at 5 a.m., but the crowd is pouring in. You're taking a quick look at the security line right now as we speak, and it's only 5 a.m. and the officials here at the airport say this is just the beginning because they expect a very busy weekend, especially now that more people feel more comfortable traveling. In fact, it's estimated more than 500,000 people will fly in and out of PDX this Thanksgiving season. That's about 300,000 more people than this time last year. So if you're traveling, expect longer lines at the security checkpoints. And there are also some changes at the airport to watch out for. There's no longer a hallway connecting all gates past security, so make sure you have the correct departure gate so you only go through security screenings once. Bypass hallways are used to safely move people around construction sites. They may add a few minutes to your walk time, but despite any crowds, travelers we spoke to are happy to be headed out for the holiday.
To be honest with you, I wasn't in any airports last year, but yeah, I feel fully comfortable. I'm vaccinated, so I'm not really worried about the virus, whether I get it or not.
Since it's been a while since people have been traveling, the TSA is reminding people to check what's in their carry-ons. A banned item can slow down the process of getting through security. Back out here live, you are looking at the security line at 5 a.m. And again, PDX airport officials say this is only the beginning. They're expecting about 48,000 travelers each day on peak times, which are expected to be Saturday and Sunday.
If that's not the peak, it's pretty busy for not being the peak, yeah, Christelle. Wow. Pretty impressive at 5 a.m. on this day before Thanksgiving. All right, that's going to take us to this morning's Sunrise poll question. Pretty simply put, how are you traveling for the holiday? Plane, train, automobile, or are you simply staying at home? I think that one's going to win. So far, it does have the early lead here. Staying at home leads with almost 64% of our viewers' answers. If you want to hop on this poll and chime in, you can go to our KGW Sunrise Twitter page. This poll is pinned to the top of that page.
All right, now to the latest on coronavirus, because Oregon has lifted the mask mandate for outdoor crowded settings as health officials ask you to be cautious heading into the holiday. COVID case numbers and hospitalizations are both down more than 60% since early September. While the state removed the outdoor mandate, face coverings, yep, they're still required indoors in public spots. The Oregon Health Authority says it is not even thinking about removing the entire mandate yet.
We don't want to, set a metric today that looks good today, but a month or 2 or 3 or whenever it is from now, all of a sudden turns out to be the wrong metric and we have to change it. And then what people feel, I think, is a sense, in some cases, of betrayal.
The other big update is about schools. The Oregon Department of Education saying if students are exposed to COVID in a school setting with masks, they can now stay in class as long as they continue to test negative. They call it a test to stay protocol. And it's trying to keep kids in class unless they absolutely have to quarantine. This would not apply to those exposed in the community or at home.
Well, we've also heard from some viewers who told us they've had a difficult time lately trying to schedule a booster shot appointment. Here's the bottom line, though. You don't necessarily need an appointment to get that booster shot. According to Costco's website, many of their stores are able to accommodate walk-ins. And the Oregon Vaccine website shows that some other big-name pharmacies like CVS and Safeway are doing the same. There's also this free walk-in clinic at Tektronix in Beaverton. Washington County's website says the Tektronix spot is one of the clinics that the Oregon Health Authority is helping to organize. We spoke with a woman from Hillsboro who landed at this location after she says she was striking out trying to find an appointment online.
Yeah, we were just surfing on the web and trying to find the right, one, and wanted to get it done before Thanksgiving, and so saw this one and saw it was an open clinic, so we just decided to drive over and get in line.
So the best website to find information and updates about the booster shot in Oregon is getvaccinatedoregon.gov. In Washington, the best bet is to use Washington's vaccine locator website. All right, from vaccine boosters to vaccine exemptions, this next story is about a doctor in Washington who's been giving out exemptions, but for a pretty steep price.
Oh, absolutely. Our sister station, King 5 in Seattle, got a tip about this doctor and her deal. The investigative team took hidden cameras into Dr. Anna Elprin's office in Ellensburg, Washington. They posed as patients and time and again found she issued medical exemptions for the COVID vaccine and for wearing a mask. 4 undercover appointments produced 4 vaccine exemptions, and she charged up to $200 every time. Now, here's a preview starting with reporter Chris Ingalls interviewing one of his investigative producers who posed as a patient.
Did the doctor ever ask you if you had a medical condition that would exempt you from a vaccine?
Nope. There was zero discussion about why I wanted this medical exemption. And, she asked me, are you healthy otherwise? And I explained, yeah.
And you never asked her if she had a medical condition?
I would have no way of knowing any of this based off just a vaccine exemption form. I would have to go back to their chart. I don't have that information stored to memory.
Surprising, right? That is the doctor. She sat down for an interview, and as you saw, the team confronted her with what they found. You can catch the full story on KGW's YouTube channel.
Wow, that is interesting. All right, well, heartbreak ahead of the holidays for a Milwaukee church. Someone stole a custom trailer that was loaded with lots of warm clothes about to be given to those living on the streets. The church is now trying to collect as many donations as possible to hand out before really big winter sets in. The 20-foot trailer was parked outside Milwaukee Lutheran Church. It was locked, packed full of warm gear, ready to be handed out when someone stole it Sunday night.
I naively thought, who steals from a church? So it was a little disheartening that someone would do that.
Organizers were set to take the trailer to Portland's Lentz Park on Friday, but of course they had to cancel. So if you'd like to help them out and donate some more clothes, you can drop them off at Milwaukee Lutheran Church. To find that trailer, they're asking for help. Look at the license plate there on your screen, U265764. If you know anything, call Milwaukee Police.
3, 2, 1. And liftoff of the Falcon 9.
Oh, that is always such a spectacular sight. And with that countdown, NASA launched a spacecraft on a mission to hit an asteroid. This is only a test. The asteroid isn't actually heading toward Earth. The spacecraft will crash into a small moonlet, which is orbiting a much larger asteroid. NASA hopes to figure out how to deflect an asteroid if one ever does head our way.
One of the things that we want to do is test out this technology to be able to autonomously intercept the asteroid And then we're going to see what we learn from that. We're going to be able to take measurements from Earth, so they'll take some time in order to be able to analyze that data.
Okay, one other thing NASA wants to put your mind at ease. It says it doesn't see any asteroids on a collision course with Earth, at least not for the next 100 years.
Yeah, let's keep it that way. Extend it for a little bit longer. Okay, what you watching, Rob?
Well, they're so serious. You know, when that rocket hits that asteroid, they're going to be jumping up and down and popping the champagne, going crazy, right? It's a travel day, so we are looking at travel weather more than I typically would. Here's Government Camp. Remember, they had 6 inches and in some cases more of snow at pass level that fell mainly yesterday morning. So that's producing an ice snow coverage on the roadways, and that will be a dry day at 28 degrees at Government Camp right now. But Govey could get up to about 40 this afternoon, so obviously that would mean the roadway would just become wet and eventually dry and fine. But if you're traveling up this morning, there's Santiam and there's Willamette Pass. It's slow going due to the icy conditions from yesterday's snowfall. Here's the big Futurecast picture at 2 o'clock. A lot of cloudiness across our state today. Generally expected to be thin stuff east of the mountains. We're kind of partly sunny to mostly sunny, and we may get some sun breaks here on the west side. The big story is it's dry and no weather-related issues travel-wise today, except for the early, icy conditions over the high passes that I mentioned. Here's our next weather maker. This is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. It does appear now we will be completely dry, Portland, Salem, Vancouver, during the day tomorrow. And then this front will come inland and bring us a rain band tomorrow overnight. Here we are at 2 a.m. That should be all rain, maybe even at 6,000 feet tomorrow night. Then it showers behind that scattered Friday morning, and I still think Friday afternoon goes on to be dry. And then we'll be dry Friday night into a nice Saturday as well. Early morning numbers are cold, 32 Forest Grove, 32 in Hillsboro, but some of us are in the 40s. Salem's above freezing at 36 degrees. Other numbers for you, 17 out in Baker City. Wow. 50s today, tomorrow, Thanksgiving, Friday, Saturday still looks like it could be up into the 60s. That's my forecast.
Hey, Rodney, you may remember last week here on Sunrise, we had 5 different viewers sharing 5 different Thanksgiving recipes with us.
Yes.
Well, we spread that over 5 days, but this morning we're going to jam it all into a 2-minute segment.
Ooh,
it's the best,
idea.
yes, the best, Rod, of our viewer recipe series on this Thanksgiving Eve, coming up in just a few minutes. But before we get to that, we have this story. Have you noticed that the price of your Thanksgiving turkey is higher this year? Some people are saying it's a lot higher. So our Verified team is going to take a look at those turkey prices right after this quick break.